Imagine losing the strength in your hands, and with it, your independence. Typing a message, slicing a piece of fruit, holding a glass of water, it all starts to hurt. Your fingertips go numb. At night, the discomfort wakes you up, and then the fear sets in. Am I going to need surgery? But here's the truth no one's talking about. The food you eat could be healing your nerves or silently destroying them. Yes, there are powerful foods that reduce inflammation, strengthen your nerves, and relieve carpal tunnel pain, and others that make it worse, triggering swelling and pressure that build up day after day. In this video, I'll show you exactly what to eat and what to avoid to ease the pain and take back control of your hands, your sleep, and your life. And before you scroll away, let me ask you something. Would you rather change one thing on your plate or live with this pain for the rest of your life? Drop a comment if you've ever felt tingling or weakness in your hands. Let's fight this from the inside out. Eat this, salmon, and other omega-3 rich foods. Let me ask you something. What if the pain and numbness in your hands could be reduced simply by changing what's on your plate? Sounds too good to be true, right? But when it comes to carpal tunnel syndrome, one of the most powerful tools you have is sitting right in your kitchen. I'm talking about salmon. If you've been dealing with that burning sensation, tingling fingers, or the kind of wrist pain that wakes you up at night, it's time to look at inflammation. That's the real culprit. When the tissues around your median nerve become swollen, they compress the nerve, and that's when the pain begins. Now here's the good news. Omega-3 fatty acids, found in abundance in salmon, are some of the most effective natural anti-inflammatories in the world. And they're not just good for your heart, they go straight to the root of the problem by reducing the inflammation that causes nerve compression. But let's go deeper. Your nerves are wrapped in protective sheaths, and they need fat, good fat, to function properly. Omega-3s help build and repair those nerve linings. They also improve blood flow, which brings oxygen and nutrients right to the damaged area. It's like sending reinforcements to a battlefield. Your body's already trying to heal, but omega-3s give it the tools to actually do it. And the science backs this up. Clinical studies have shown that people who increase their omega-3 intake experience reduced nerve pain, improved grip strength, and less overall discomfort in the hands and wrists. We're not talking about miracle cures. We're talking about real, measurable improvement that starts with food. Now, maybe you're thinking, I don't eat salmon every day. That's fine. You don't have to. Just 2 to 3 servings a week can make a real difference. The key is consistency. And if salmon isn't your thing, there are plenty of alternatives. Sardines and mackerel are just as rich in omega-3s and often more affordable. Tuna is another solid option, as long as it's not your only source due to mercury concerns. For vegetarians or anyone who doesn't like fish, chia seeds and flax seeds are good plant-based sources, though they're not quite as potent. And if all else fails, high-quality fish oil supplements can fill the gap. Just make sure they're from a reputable brand with no heavy metal contamination. Here's something else you need to know. It's not just about adding omega-3s, it's also about cutting back on omega-6s. These are the fats found in vegetable oils, fried foods, and processed snacks. And when you have too many omega-6s in your system, they compete with omega-3s and actually promote inflammation. So if you're eating salmon twice a week but still loading up on chips and deep-fried foods, you might not see the benefits you're hoping for. Balance matters. Let's make this real. Imagine your dinner plate. You swap out that processed meat for a grilled salmon fillet. You toss some walnuts on your salad instead of croutons. You trade your sugary granola bar for a chia pudding with berries. These aren't radical changes. They're small, doable shifts that add up over time. And when you do this consistently, your body starts to respond. You might notice that your hands don't feel as stiff in the morning, that the numbness fades a little faster, that you can grip your coffee mug or open a jar without wincing. It's not instant, but it's real. Your nerves are trying to heal. They're sending you signals every day through pain, tingling, or weakness, asking for support. And omega-3s are one of the best ways to give them that support. So the next time you're planning a meal, ask yourself, is this helping my body heal or making the inflammation worse? Because the truth is, healing doesn't start in a doctor's office. It starts in your kitchen. And when you feed your nerves the right way, you're not just easing pain. You're rebuilding strength, function, and freedom, one bite at a time. Avoid this refined sugar. Let's talk about something you probably have in your kitchen right now. Sugar. It's in your coffee, your cereal, your favorite snacks. And it might seem harmless, maybe even comforting, especially after a long day. But if you're dealing with carpal tunnel pain, refined sugar could be one of the most dangerous ingredients in your diet. That's right, the same sweet stuff that gives you a little boost is also silently fueling the inflammation that's crushing your nerves. Think about it. Carpal tunnel syndrome happens when the tissues inside your wrist become swollen and press against the median nerve. That pressure is what causes the tingling, numbness, and shooting pain in your hand. And guess what refined sugar does better than almost any other food? It triggers inflammation. Here's how it works. When you eat sugar, your blood sugar spikes, and your body responds by releasing insulin. But that's not all. This insulin surge kicks off a chain reaction, flooding your system with inflammatory chemicals called cytokines. These are the same chemicals your body releases during an infection or injury. So even if you haven't hurt your wrist, your body acts like you have. That inflammation doesn't just stay in your gut or your bloodstream, it travels. And for people with carpal tunnel, it tends to show up exactly where you don't want it, in the small, delicate space inside your wrist. More swelling, more pressure, more pain. But that's not the end of the story. Refined sugar also creates something called AGEs, advanced glycation end products. These compounds form when sugar binds to proteins in your body, and they accelerate the breakdown of collagen and connective tissue. Why does that matter? Because your nerves, your tendons, and even the tiny bones in your wrist all rely on healthy collagen to stay flexible and strong. When that collagen starts to break down, your body can't protect the median nerve like it should. It's like taking the padding out of a pair of gloves. Suddenly, every movement feels harsher, more painful, more damaging. Now let's get real. We're not just talking about spoonfuls of sugar in your coffee. Refined sugar hides in places you'd never expect. Bread, ketchup, salad dressing, protein bars. Even so-called healthy yogurts are often packed with added sugars. So while you might think you're eating clean, your body could be under constant attack from foods that seem innocent. And here's something even more important. Sugar doesn't work alone. It often shows up alongside other inflammatory foods, refined carbs, processed oils, and dairy. These combinations create the perfect storm for inflammation, like a sugary breakfast cereal with milk, or a sweet pastry with coffee and cream. It might taste great, but your nerves pay the price. Now you might be wondering, how much sugar is too much? The answer is less than you think. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 6 teaspoons a day for women and 9 for men. But the average person eats more than double that every single day. And when that becomes a habit, it wears your body down. The pain in your wrist doesn't come out of nowhere. It's the result of years of tiny choices that added up. The good news? Your body is incredibly responsive. Start cutting back on sugar, and the inflammation begins to cool down. The swelling in your wrist starts to ease. You might sleep better. You might wake up with less stiffness. You might even notice your mood and energy levels improve, because sugar doesn't just affect your nerves. It messes with your hormones, your sleep, and your immune system too. So what can you do right now? Start by reading labels. If you see words like high fructose corn syrup, maltose, dextrose, or anything ending in ose, that's sugar. Swap out sweetened drinks for water or herbal tea. Choose whole fruits instead of fruit juices. And when you crave something sweet, go for cinnamon, honey in moderation, or even dark chocolate with no added sugar. These small swaps can make a massive difference. You don't have to give up sweetness forever. You just need to be smarter about where it comes from. Because here's the bottom line. If you're serious about reducing carpal tunnel pain, you can't ignore what's feeding the fire. And sugar, it's gasoline. So take control. Your nerves will thank you for it. Eat this, red bell peppers. Now let's talk about a food that most people overlook, but that could make a huge difference in how your hands feel. Red bell peppers. These bright, crunchy vegetables aren't just a pretty sight on your plate. They're packed with something your body desperately needs if you're dealing with carpal tunnel pain. Antioxidants. Specifically, red bell peppers are one of the richest sources of vitamin C, and that matters more than you think. When most people hear vitamin C, they think of colds, maybe a glass of orange juice. But vitamin C does something far more important when it comes to nerve health. It plays a crucial role in the production of collagen. So why does collagen matter? Because your body relies on it to maintain the health of your connective tissues, tendons, ligaments, and even the protective layers that surround your nerves. Without enough collagen, these tissues weaken. And when they weaken, they can't properly support or cushion the median nerve that runs through your wrist. That's when pain, tingling, and weakness start to take over. So if you want to protect that nerve and reduce pressure inside the carpal tunnel, you need to give your body the tools to repair and rebuild. And that starts with vitamin C. But that's just the beginning. Red bell peppers are also loaded with powerful antioxidants like beta-carotene and quercetin, which help neutralize free radicals. These free radicals are unstable molecules that cause oxidative stress, which damages cells and promotes inflammation. And inflammation, as you already know, is one of the biggest drivers of carpal tunnel pain. What makes red bell peppers so effective is that they fight inflammation on multiple fronts. They calm your immune response, protect your cells from damage, and help rebuild the structures that support your nerves. And unlike some other healthy foods that require a lot of prep or special cooking methods, red bell peppers are incredibly easy to work into your meals. You can slice them raw into a salad, roast them with olive oil, blend them into a soup, or even snack on them plain. They're sweet, crisp, and satisfying, and they won't spike your blood sugar the way fruit juices or processed snacks do. That's important because keeping your blood sugar stable also helps reduce inflammation and nerve irritation. There's another reason to love red bell peppers. They're low in calories and high in fiber. That means they keep you full longer and support a healthy gut. And believe it or not, your gut health is directly connected to inflammation throughout your entire body. When your digestive system is working well, your immune system stays balanced. But when your gut is inflamed or out of balance, something that often happens with processed foods and too much sugar, your whole body pays the price. So by adding red bell peppers to your meals, you're not just helping your hands, you're helping your entire system stay calm, stable, and pain-free. Here's a simple trick. Next time you're making a sandwich or wrap, swap out the lettuce for slices of red bell pepper. Use them instead of chips for dipping in hummus. Add them to scrambled eggs, stir fries, or pasta sauces. The goal isn't to turn your life upside down, it's to make smarter, consistent choices that work in your real life. And red bell peppers are one of the easiest wins you can add to your plate. Now, of course, no single food is a magic bullet, but when you consistently include nutrient-dense, anti-inflammatory foods like red bell peppers, your body starts to shift. You might notice your hands feel less stiff in the morning. The numbness might fade more quickly. You might even be able to work longer, write more, or sleep through the night without waking up from pain. These are the kinds of changes that build over time. They're not flashy, but they're powerful. Your body's always trying to heal, but it can't do that without the raw materials. Red bell peppers give you those materials: vitamin C to rebuild tissue, antioxidants to reduce inflammation, and fiber to support your gut and immune health. So don't underestimate them. They might just be the most delicious tool in your recovery. Avoid this: gluten in excess. Now let's talk about a food that most people eat every single day without thinking twice. Bread, pasta, crackers, cookies. They all have one thing in common: gluten. And while gluten might seem like a harmless part of your daily routine, if you're dealing with carpal tunnel pain, it could be making your symptoms significantly worse. Most people associate gluten sensitivity with digestive issues, maybe some bloating or discomfort. But what they don't realize is that gluten can also have a powerful effect on your nervous system, especially when it comes to inflammation. Here's what's happening beneath the surface. Gluten is a protein found in wheat, rye, and barley. For some people, especially those with sensitivities or autoimmune tendencies, gluten triggers an immune response. And once your immune system is activated, it starts producing inflammatory chemicals that circulate through your entire body, not just your gut. That inflammation doesn't always show up as stomach pain. In many cases, it shows up in your joints, your tissues, and yes, even in the narrow space inside your wrist where your median nerve runs. When inflammation increases, fluid builds up, tissues swell, and that puts more pressure on the nerve, making your carpal tunnel symptoms more intense, more frequent, and harder to manage. And here's where things get even more complicated. Gluten has been linked to something called leaky gut syndrome. When your intestinal lining becomes inflamed, it becomes more permeable than it should be. That means small particles of food, toxins, and bacteria can pass into your bloodstream where they don't belong. Your immune system sees these particles as threats and launches an attack. This creates a constant low-grade inflammation throughout your body. It's like your immune system is stuck in fight mode, and that ongoing response keeps your tissues inflamed and your nerves irritated. For people with carpal tunnel, that can mean more swelling in the wrist, more pressure on the nerve, and more pain, especially in the morning or after repetitive hand movements. And it's not just inflammation. Gluten can also interfere with your body's ability to absorb key nutrients, especially the ones your nerves need to function properly. We're talking about B vitamins, magnesium, and even vitamin D. If your body's inflamed or your gut is damaged, it can't absorb these nutrients efficiently, and without them, your nerves become more vulnerable. They fire less efficiently, they heal more slowly, and they become more sensitive to pressure and stress. So while you might think a sandwich or a plate of pasta is harmless, it could be setting off a chain reaction that ends in wrist pain and nerve damage. Now let's be clear, Not everyone needs to go completely gluten-free, but if you're struggling with nerve pain, inflammation, or carpal tunnel symptoms that won't go away, it's worth paying attention to how your body reacts. Try cutting back on gluten-heavy foods for a few weeks. Replace your regular bread with a gluten-free version. Swap wheat pasta for brown rice pasta or quinoa. Try baking with almond flour or coconut flour. These small changes can reduce inflammation and help your body calm down. And if you start feeling better, if the tingling fades, if the stiffness improves, that's a strong sign gluten was part of the problem. Pay attention to patterns. Do your hands feel worse after a pizza night? Do you wake up with more stiffness after eating crackers or cookies before bed? These little signals matter. Your body is always giving you feedback. You just have to listen. And remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. You don't need to eliminate gluten forever unless you have a diagnosed allergy or autoimmune condition. But cutting back, even by 50%, can make a noticeable difference in how your hands feel and how your nerves function. The truth is, most people ignore the connection between food and nerve pain. They reach for painkillers, wrist braces, or even injections, without realizing that what's on their plate could be part of the problem. But you don't have to keep guessing. Try the experiment yourself. Take gluten out for a couple of weeks and see how you feel. You might be surprised by how much lighter, less stiff, and more mobile your hands become. And that relief, it's not magic. It's just your body finally getting a break from a constant source of inflammation. Eat this avocado. Now let's talk about a food that's creamy, delicious, and surprisingly powerful when it comes to nerve health. Avocado. You might know it as a trendy topping for toast or a base for guacamole, but when you're dealing with carpal tunnel pain, avocado is so much more than a tasty snack. It's a natural powerhouse of nutrients that directly support your nervous system and help fight the root causes of your symptoms. If you've been struggling with tingling fingers, weakness in your grip, or pain that shoots up your wrist, this is the kind of food your body is begging for. What makes avocado so effective? First, it's rich in healthy fats, specifically monounsaturated fats. These fats are anti-inflammatory, which means they help reduce the swelling and fluid buildup around the median nerve. When that inflammation goes down, so does the pressure on the nerve, which can lead to real relief. But avocado doesn't stop at healthy fats. It also contains a nutrient that's absolutely essential for people dealing with nerve-related pain: vitamin B6. And here's why that matters. Vitamin B6 plays a major role in how your nerves send signals. Without enough of it, those signals can become erratic, leading to numbness, tingling, or that annoying pins and needles sensation. Even worse, low levels of B6 have been directly linked to nerve compression syndromes like carpal tunnel. So when you eat avocado, you're not just calming inflammation, you're giving your nervous system the exact tools it needs to work properly. And here's a bonus. Avocado also contains magnesium and potassium, two minerals that help relax muscles and regulate nerve function. That means less tension in your hands, better circulation, and more support for the tiny, overworked muscles that surround your wrist joint. Another thing to love about avocado is how versatile and satisfying it is. Unlike some health foods that feel like a chore to eat, avocado actually keeps you full, stabilizes your blood sugar, and makes meals feel more indulgent, even when they're clean and simple. And that's important because stable blood sugar levels are another key part of controlling inflammation. Every time your blood sugar spikes, it sets off an inflammatory response. Avocados help prevent that by slowing digestion and giving your body a steady release of energy. So whether you add slices to a sandwich, blend it into a smoothie, or eat it straight with a spoon and a pinch of sea salt, you're making a smart move for your nerves every single time. Let's also talk about consistency. One avocado every now and then won't move the needle, but when you start incorporating it into your meals regularly, several times a week or even daily, you'll start to notice changes. Maybe your hands won't feel as puffy in the morning. Maybe your fingers won't go numb when you hold the steering wheel or use a knife in the kitchen. These small improvements matter. They're signs that your body's healing, that the inflammation is subsiding, and that your nerves are finally getting the support they need. And here's something most people don't realize. The fat in avocado helps your body absorb other key nutrients, especially the fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K. So when you eat avocado with other anti-inflammatory foods like leafy greens or red bell peppers, your body gets more out of those meals. It's like a nutrient multiplier. That means you're not just eating well, you're making every bite work harder for your recovery. So if you've been feeling frustrated, if the pain in your hands is affecting your sleep, your work, or your daily life, try this. Start with one small change. Add half an avocado to your lunch or dinner. Build a simple routine around it and watch what happens. You might be surprised by how quickly your body responds. The path to healing doesn't always require medication or surgery. Sometimes it just starts with the right food. An avocado? That's one of the best healing foods you can put on your plate. Avoid this. Processed meats. Now let's finish strong with one of the most harmful food groups for your nerves, and one of the most common in everyday diets, processed meats. We're talking about things like ham, bacon, sausage, hot dogs, salami, deli meats. They're convenient, salty, flavorful, and often feel like a quick win in the kitchen. But when it comes to carpal tunnel syndrome, these foods are doing you zero favors. In fact, they may be one of the most powerful triggers behind the swelling and inflammation that's compressing your median nerve and causing that frustrating, persistent pain in your wrist and hand. Here's what most people don't realize. Processed meats are extremely high in sodium, and sodium causes your body to retain water. That might not sound like a big deal until you remember how small and delicate the space is inside your carpal tunnel. Even a little extra fluid can increase the pressure in that area, pressing down on the median nerve and making your symptoms worse. So if you're eating salty foods day after day, even without realizing it, your body could be in a constant state of mild swelling. And that swelling adds up. It turns into tingling, numbness, weakness, and in some cases, permanent nerve damage. But it's not just the salt. Processed meats also contain preservatives, additives, and chemical compounds like nitrates and nitrites. These ingredients are used to extend shelf life and enhance flavor, but they come at a cost. Many of these additives have been linked to increased inflammation throughout the body. They disrupt your gut health, irritate your immune system, and make your body more reactive to stress. When your immune system is constantly activated, it starts to attack healthy tissues, including the connective tissues and protective layers around your nerves. That means more inflammation, more swelling, and more pressure inside the carpal tunnel. And there's another layer to this. Most processed meats are also high in saturated fats and low in any meaningful nutrients. That's a bad combination. Saturated fats, when eaten in excess, have been shown to promote systemic inflammation. And when your diet is full of inflammatory fats and lacking in fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants, your body doesn't have the resources it needs to calm things down or repair damage. That's how small dietary choices become big health problems. A sandwich with deli meat today, a couple slices of bacon tomorrow. Before you know it, your hands are numb before you've even finished your first cup of coffee. Now let's be realistic. You're not going to overhaul your entire diet overnight, but this is about awareness and progress. Start paying attention to how often you eat these foods. Read the labels. Look for sodium levels. Watch for ingredients you can't pronounce. And most importantly, start replacing those foods with better options. Instead of deli meat, try shredded chicken, tuna, or even roasted vegetables in your sandwich. Swap bacon for avocado or a hard-boiled egg. Cook extra dinner and use the leftovers for lunch instead of grabbing something prepackaged. These changes aren't about restriction, they're about protection, protecting your nerves, your function, and your long-term mobility. And don't underestimate how powerful these swaps can be. When you reduce your intake of processed meats and other high-sodium foods, your body starts releasing the excess fluid it's been holding on to. The swelling in your wrist can go down. That pressure on the nerve starts to ease. You might notice your hands don't feel as puffy. Your grip might feel a little stronger. Your fingers might not fall asleep so easily. These changes might seem small, but they're signs that your body's coming back into balance. So if you've been waking up with stiffness, if your hands feel heavy or weak throughout the day, take a closer look at what's on your plate. Processed meats may be quick and tasty, but they're costing you something far more valuable: your comfort, your sleep, your independence. And you don't have to wait for a doctor or a diagnosis to start making a change. You can begin today with your very next meal. Because when it comes to nerve pain, the smallest ingredients often make the biggest difference. And there you have it. The foods you eat every day could be healing your hands or hurting them. Now you know exactly what to add to your plate and what to avoid to reduce carpal tunnel pain naturally. Small changes, big results. If this helped you, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more tips that protect your health from the inside out. See you in the next one.